Hello, my name's David Linton, and I've been writing these reports recently about the top stocks in either the UK market or other markets, and more and more people have been asking how do I actually do that. So I just wanted to show you I'm about to produce a report on the European 600 stocks, trying to find the best upside potential in that list of stocks, and I just want to show you how I do it. So the first thing is you can do the scanning and update if you just go to compare updated versions. The light version you can't do scanning, but you can in a home, professional, and enterprise version. So um, just in case you've just got the light version, you won't be able to do this in light, but you can do this in all other versions of Updata. So the first thing is to create this list, and so the way to do that is, in fact, I've got running Metastock, which is the same system as Thomson Reuters Icon. It's the Metastock Zenith system, and so the first thing I do is actually just type in a code here, and I'm looking for the 600 index, and I just type in stocks, and it gives me that index. I open up the page of the stock 600, and these are the top movers and etc. But what I want to be able to do is to get to the constituents that produce that gives me the list. So here's all of the constituents, and over here in either Icon or Zenith, you can just click this download to Excel button, and that will download to a spreadsheet. And the beauty of that is that you get all the codes. So there we see it's already downloading to the spreadsheet. And here are the 600 stocks. So there is the code. And what I've done here is in the spreadsheet, I've just highlighted those 600 codes. I can literally just go Control C to copy them, go to my Updata system, and in under quotes in Updata, I can now create a watch list. So if I go new, I'm offered these two options here, and I can create a watch list from pasted text. And so this is a really useful feature in Updata. And then I can paste those in, and it's got all the codes. I then need to specify which data provider it's coming from, and again, Updata runs on multiple data feeds. So in this case, it's Zenith, and then I need to give it a name. So I could call it Stocks 600. What's interesting also is that this allows you to copy. It's quite challenging in the case of the European 600 codes because they're all different markets. .L for UK, .PA for Paris, and so they're all different markets. But if you have a standard index or standard list from either say US market or UK market, you can literally copy these and then add prefixes and suffixes to match the codes from a different feed. So it's quite cool that. Then when I go to create, it'll ask me do I want real time or end of day, and then if I click real time in this instance because it is coming in on a live feed, I click OK, it will create the list. Now that will take a few minutes depending on which feed you're taking the data from, but here is my list. So now I've got my list, I want to then run a scan. So I want to run a point and figure scan, and so the best thing to do is to just go and create one. Now I've got lots of scans, but I'm going to do one new so that you can actually see it for yourself. So we go to point and figure here on the scan, and I'm going to use log scale, which means it's using 1% log scale across the board, so that normalizes the scan across the board. All of these charts will be 1%. If I used arithmetic box sizes, they'd all have different box sizes, but here it's just a percentage of the price. And so in this instance, so I've got percentage log scale, 1%. I can specify a risk reward, but to be honest, all I'm really looking for is the distance to the target. I quite like the trend to be up, and so what I can do here is I can say I'm looking for 10 to 100%. So anything that's going to go up more than 10%, up to doubling. If it's over doubling, it's probably questionable whether that's a realistic target. So I add that condition, and you can edit these conditions at any time. So just by clicking on it, and save the changes. And I could add other conditions if I wanted. So I could now go and do another condition, and you can make these as complex as you like. But the reality is, it's It's just this is a really simple scan. I'm just looking for upside targets. It's the question we all want answered, really, isn't it? Which stocks have got the most upside potential? And so the point and figure scan is unique in being able to do this. I can then just save and run this report, and that would normally take a few minutes again, depending on the feed you've got. But here is my list. So in the Euro Stoxx 600, there is effectively we've got now all of the stocks on the list. There's 160 stocks that are rising by more than 10%. So what I can do is straight away just scroll the results. So I just scroll the charts, and this gives me the results. Now, if you're an enterprise user, you can there's what we now need to do is go through that list of 160 and eyeball the charts. And this is perhaps the most interesting bit of this is I'm looking for stocks that where the charts look best, and this is the bit that the computer doesn't do so well. You've got to be able to just eyeball these charts and say what you like about them and then add them to your list. Now, if you're using the home version, you can actually just tag these to a watch list, and it will create a short list of the stocks that you would then maybe want to look at further or analyze further. And out of that 160, I'm going to try and narrow that down to a couple of dozen stocks that I think are the best looking stocks in the market. And then from that, I can then start to make some buying decisions. And I normally need to do this process when I've sold a holding and I'm looking to reinvest and I want to know what to reinvest in. So basically, you can just go through the list and decide. Now, I'm going to produce a report. Now, this is only available for enterprise users, but I'm going to create a new report. There's a whole series of templates in the system. I'm just going to quickly look at the report. I'm using 6 per page, and I can edit this template by going and I'm using a PowerPoint template here, and I can edit this template by going and running the report. But I'm just going to create a new report straight away here. And so every chart that I like the look of, I'm going to just insert it into my report. So this is Royal Dutch Shell. Looks really good. In fact, what I'm going to do is just reduce this size slightly because I've got these as 6 per page portrait, and so I want to get the size of the chart roughly the same as what's in my report. So what I did like about this chart was it's breaking to new highs. So we're actually seeing multiple highs where we're breaking out into big highs. We've got targets of 36 and 39%, 2 targets. Ideally, I want to see stocks making new highs or breaking out and 2 targets. So this qualifies, and so Royal Dutch Shell goes into my report. The next thing I do is just go to the next one in the list. This is Total. This is also breaking out 14% and 2 targets at 14%. So that is looking pretty good. It's not massive upside, but it is breaking out as well. So again, I would insert that in the report. I've got to be a little bit aware that effectively I need to narrow this list down, so I don't want to add every single chart. Now this is a great trend by Unilever, as looking like it's found support. We've got a 12% and a 25% upside target, so that's looking pretty good too. So at this instance, I probably will not add that to the report because I just want to see. I've already added 2 BP again, as you'd expect, another oil company. Good upside potential. This looks better. It's just breaking out, so it's looking set to run. So I would again add that to the report. And then I just keep going through looking for the stocks. So this one's SAP. Looking pretty good, 27 and 35% upside, so I think I'll add that. A lot of these stocks looking pretty good, so I might need to start saying I want to see more than 20% upside with multiple targets. Now here's L'Oreal looking great, but only really one lone target, so I'm going to just pass on that one. It's not to say that it won't go up. Here's BHP Billiton, looking really quite good, but I'm just slightly concerned that we're going to hit some resistance where we were in 2015. So I'm going to pass this one by. I've got a long list here to get through, and I'm just trying to find the best runs. Rio Tinto looks a little bit better, but again, only one upside target, so I'm going to just keep going. This one again, Atlas, only one upside target. And so here we see two upside targets, but just struggling to break to a new high here. So probably some resistance. So I'm going to pass on that one as well. I'm really trying to narrow this down. This is Diageo, looking pretty good. Targeted 19% and 24%, two upside targets, pushing to new highs, having sort of broken out of a sideways pattern and looks like it's got further to run. So I will add that one to the report. If I keep going, so we look at AstraZeneca. Um, this is looking pretty strong as well with two very big upside targets, so we'll add that to the report as well. Uh, and then just keep going. So just going through, looking for stocks. Here I've got ASML. It's only got one upside target that's really significant, and it's not that high, so I'm going to just keep pushing ahead. And you can see that I'm just running through. So this is carrying one lone target looking very, very strong, but just probably a bit higher risk because there's only that one target and it's already run a lot. Another oil company, but not making new highs, and one target not looking as good as BP and Shell and Total. ABB Group looking pretty good with two upside targets, but just not making new highs, so I'm going to pass on that one as well and just keep going. Shire, a lone target, and Shire, of course, in a potential takeover. BASF, one upside target, so just keep going. Novo Nordisk, two upside targets, but just not really breaking to new highs. And you can see I'm just being quite quick with this process. Again, not really making new highs. Compass Group, 12 and 18%, but again, not making new highs, so I'm just going to pass on that. Relx looking a little bit better. Two targets to the same place. Now that is normally that's what we call a cluster. Increases the likelihood of going there, but only 12% upside, and I'm getting a bit greedy because I want to narrow my list down. Pernod looking good, making new highs, 14 and 26% upside, and two clusters we're getting quite close to. The fact that it's adhering to these targets is quite good, so I think I will add that one to my list. I'm up to 7 stocks now. Keep going here. Um, so this is EDF recovery, and recovery situations I'm not as keen on because they take longer to materialize. So I'm just going to keep going with Engie Group. Again, not making new highs, recovery situation. Volvo looking strong here. This is the B shares, got lots of targets, 23, 33 and 64. That does look good, so I'm going to add that to my list. Here we're seeing, and keep going into the next stock, ArcelorMittal, 18 and 15%. Looking pretty good, but I'm probably just going to keep pushing for looking for something a bit higher. Anglo American looking very strong with targets of 20, 25, 63, three upside targets making new highs. That does look good, so I'm going to add that one. Keep going here. Endesa, only one. There's a lot of energy companies, of course, looking pretty good. Relx looking quite good here, and I'm going to probably pass that by and just keep going. Tesco's one upside target recovery situation really, so I'm going to pass on that. Fresenius I'm going to pass on. Luxottica I'm going to pass on that as well. Here's quite nice because we've got a big sideways pattern. I'd like to see the break, and there's only one target, so I'm going to keep going with this one. Saint-Gobain, not much upside potential there. One target on Gas Natural, it's in Madrid. Again, a recovery here on Swatch. Vivendi, just the one target. And here, just again, two upside targets, but not massive upside potential. Here, quite a few upside targets, but just not quite breaking. It does look quite good here that we've got this sideways pattern, but we need to really break to a new high, and there's only that one big target, so I'm going to just keep going. I'm really trying to keep my short list quite small. Capgemini, two upside targets, already run a bit, not that exciting. Fortum, just the one upside target. We notice utilities coming in a lot here. It's oil companies' utilities. Here we see just one upside target. OMV, another oil company. This will be interesting to see. 12 and 10%, so not that big an upside. And we're just going to here. I'm just trying to keep this list down. Interesting, I can always just go back as well. So here I just go back and check that one again. I was probably a bit quick on dismissing that. Partners group, yeah, 2 targets and making new highs. I think I'll probably add that. So um, keep going. So uh, where are we? Is ColorPlus. This one also looking pretty good, but just the one upside target of any note there. So I'm going to keep going on that. This is a German stock, work hard. 2 upside targets, but one's already met, so I'm going to keep going there. Ferguson, we've got 2 upside targets and we're breaking to new highs. That does look good, so we'll add that. A lot of these London stocks. Paris also looking very strong as a market, but here we've only got 8, 9, and 13% Peugeot. It is interesting that there are multiple targets, and that's probably a safe-ish play, but the upside potential is not as good. This one here, Klondike, looking quite good, and 15 and 19%. So I will add that one to my list. That's taking me up to 12 stocks now. Remember, I'm trying to find the top 12 stocks out of a 600 universe, and this is my quick way of doing it. 10 and 64, and that 64% target is not activated, so we need to move higher than that to activate it. So I'm going to pass on that. This is Exor. 2 targets here of 14 and 61%, and that has just been activated, so I will add that. I may remember what I'm ultimately looking to do here is to have a short list and then choose the best out of that short list to make my investment decision. So just pushing through here. This one here we've got 55 and 24%, but not making new highs. So just I'm going to pass on that. So here we are, just one lone target. Stora Enso, just the one lone target as well. So we just keep going here, one lone target. Yeah, Wolters Kluwer, one of those targets wasn't that big. A recovery here, I like to steer clear of recoveries generally. Galp Energia, another energy company, looking pretty good actually. We've got upside potential of 17, 5 and 44. That second upside is not so good, so I'm going to keep going there. So here we're Swedish stock, not enough upside potential there. Melrose. My concern here is we're just not breaking to a new high, so this could be a rolling over pattern, so I'm just going to keep going. And we can see here one lone upside target. Vestas, the Copenhagen market, no, not looking so strong. Antofagasta looking pretty good with 3 upside targets. 15, 28 and 42, so I will add that again. These London stocks showing quite a lot of strength in this list. Atos, Paris, upside potential but not making new highs. Julius Baer, Swiss stock. Bank, yeah, it's looking pretty good actually, and gives me something new in the mix, 19% and 94%. So I will add that to the list. It takes me up to 15 stocks. If I get around 20 stocks, I'd be quite happy. Here we're seeing pushing higher. We've got quite good upside targets. NM Group, I will add that as well. And it's quite interesting if I rerun this process. It's interesting to see whether I hit the same once again, making new highs, 2 upside targets to around 30%. So I will add that one as well, and we'll keep going. So you can see here 13 and 26%. It's best just to go through and eyeball these results really, and we're seeing here Zalando. German stock looking pretty good but not breaking to new highs, so I'm just going to keep going. Here again, not making new highs is probably my main concern there, just not quite, and that last target is not activated yet. Maybe one to keep an eye on though, that's for sure. And so we're just working our way through this 160 stocks. I've narrowed it down. Intercontinental, Persimmon looking quite good, but not much upside potential. Uniper, another utility company, breaking to new highs there, so looking pretty good. But I might just pass on that. It's run a lot already, and I'm really only looking for a few more stocks now. So I'm just going to keep pushing forward. Siemens. And you can see that, so you can see here that this is looking good again, breaking to new highs, so I'll probably add that. So I'm just going to pause the video and run to the end and then show you how I produce the report. Okay, so I'm nearing the end of the list here, and I've added another 10 stocks since I paused there. Victrex, this one looks quite good, making new highs, broken out, and we've got two quite good upside targets, 21 and 76% upside potential. So I'm going to add that. That takes me to 29 stocks, and just go through the last few. Yeah, only one target here, not making new highs. And just loading the data for these last few stocks, Britvic, and I know I'm back to the beginning because I'm back to Royal Dutch Shell, which was the first one I added to my list. So if you've got the report system, this is where it's very powerful with an updater. You can just finish the report. So and I'm going to give this report a name, EU 29 most upside, I'm going to call it. And I can rerun this report at any time and it will update these stocks. Do you want to create the PowerPoint document? Yes. And so it's going away and it's generating the report. So PowerPoint is a little bit better for manipulating. You can do it in Word, you can do it in HTML, but I quite like PowerPoint. And if you're running presentations and producing reports, you can just literally run the report at any time and it will update all the text. So you can see it's creating all the images to put in this report. And so for those of you who asked how I do this, this is the process, and it just takes a few minutes every day. I probably run the scans every week or two, and it just gives me a short list to be looking for. I could actually have set the upside potential to 20%, then I'd have a smaller list to work through, but I do find it quite useful to just go through quite a lot of charts. So it's going to produce the report. It gives me a title page, and these are all my stocks, and then I can print this out if I want to sit and look at them. But there's my 29 reports. So remember, you can do this in either the home and the professional version. If you want to write the report like I did, then you need the enterprise version, but you could easily just scroll through the charts and create your own watch list. And quite often what I do, if I do that and create my own watch list, I can then go to Updater and I would use my Charts Today template on that list and see those short lists from a different light now, my long term, my medium term, and my short term. So you can do that as well. Anyway, that's it. Have a good read of the report, and I just wanted to show you how I did it.